Good morning. Oh, welcome. Welcome to Woodland Chapel this morning. What do you say, Don? The best?
No place like any place.
Okay, I can't say it like he does it, so I won't even try. That didn't work well. But welcome this morning. So glad to see your beautiful faces this morning. And Jeff, welcome. And who do we have with you?
This is Matthew Nelson Price.
Morning.
Matthew Nelson Price. So thank you for being here. We're really happy to have you this morning.
Matt is short.
And just a few things to go over. Is anybody here for the first time, aside from you, Matthew Nelson
It's
Price?
actually my second time.
It's your second
Yeah.
time. Okay. Is anyone here for the first time? All right. And you got some information. All right. Terrific. And I have another announcement about class. A class started last week, and this Tuesday at 6 o'clock, is your last chance to join the class and change your thinking, change your life, correct? Because guess what? Change our thinking, change our life. And it's a foundation class and terrific information. Cheryl and Reverend Moore are facilitating this class. And so it's the last time to sign up, and the class is at 6 o'clock here, or you can Zoom. And in order to Zoom, and I'm going to Zoom on Tuesday, is just give Cheryl your email address, and she will give you a connection. So what a wonderful world we live in. Isn't it so cool? We can be everywhere and connected. And so I walked in this morning, I have this great vow, like, no sugar, but then I have one day that I can have sugar because I realize I'm not that disciplined. So I walk in the kitchen door and there's just piles of cookies and treats down there, and so you're welcome to stay. And if you're like me, Sunday's my cheat day. You got to have one, or you might get righteous. So I am so good. I don't do that well. Okay. Soup for the Soul next Sunday. Figure out if you have a really great soup recipe you can bring to share. Otherwise, just come and join everyone. On the back of your bulletin are most of the announcements that you don't need me to read for you. Take them home and go over them and see what appeals to you, or reminders or upcoming messages. And one thing I do want to remind you of, in the front of where you are sitting should be a prayer request form. And you guys, prayer works. Prayer works. I can vouch for that. And don't short yourself on that. If you don't want to put your name, you don't have to put your name, because I think the Infinite knows who you are. But allow this prayer team to pray with you. So, okay, Jeff and Matthew.
Hi. So, can I say one thing about this song? We're going to do a song called What the Spirit Says Do. Are any of you familiar with this? No, this. I don't know who did it, but here's the story behind it. Since this is Black History Month, this was the song that they sang and marched to down in Selma, going over the bridge. And then when they ended up in front of the Capitol with 30,000 people, Pete Seeger and I think the guys who wrote it was Len Chandler, led 30,000 people in doing this song also. Now, I never knew that because this was New Thought music to me 20 years ago, but we played it with a pep, and we never really knew the history about it. So now that I know the history, I have more of a reverence for it, and so we're going to do this, and you'll pick up with it if you don't know it, and you do, Michelle. I haven't written every song. You're awesome. Okay, so what the Spirit says do. Here we go. I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do. I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do. And when the Spirit says do, I'm gonna Lord, I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do. I'm gonna give when the Spirit says give. I'm gonna give when the Spirit says give. And when the Spirit says give, I'm gonna give, Lord.
And when the Spirit says pray, I'm gonna pray, Lord, Lord. I'm gonna pray when the Spirit says pray.
I'm gonna sit
When the Spirit says sit, I'm gonna sit when the Spirit says sit. And when the Spirit says sit, I'm gonna sit, oh Lord, I'm gonna sit when the Spirit says sit.
I'm gonna receive
When the Spirit says receive, I'm gonna receive when the Spirit says receive. And when the Spirit says receive, I'm gonna receive, oh Lord, I'm gonna receive like the Spirit says receive.
I'm gonna march
Gonna march like the Spirit says march. I'm gonna march when the Spirit says march. And when the Spirit says march, I'm gonna march, Lord, Lord, I'm gonna march when the Spirit says march. Yeah.
sit. I should have waited to the end for that one. Thank you, Dawn. And here's another one called Holy Ground. You know this? There's a lot of Lord. There's a lot of lords in these songs, but like Don Kerr once said to me, you don't have to worry about it. It all means the same thing, and just go for it. So, this is holy ground. We're standing on holy ground. For the Lord is present, and where she is holy.
This is holy ground. We're standing on holy ground. For the Lord is present, and where she is holy. These are holy hands. He's given us holy hands. She worked through these hands, and so these hands are holy. These are holy hands. He's given us holy hands. She works through these hands, and so these hands are holy. These are holy lips. She's given us holy lips. She speaks through these lips, and so these lips are holy. These are holy lips. You've given us holy lips. She speaks through these lips, and so these lips are holy.
I think we're going to stop there. Thank you.
And as I open up this prayer, I offer you to just please take a deep breath, knowing you're breathing in the love of God. And as you exhale, you're releasing anything that no longer serves you. And knowing this, knowing that there is only one power, one infinite source of good, and that we are created as aspects of this fabulous being, that we have all the same attributes of God within us. We have joy, we have love, we have light, we have peace, we have beauty, and we have life. And as we go forward, I just know that today resonates with everyone in this chapel. This beautiful, glorious day that has been given to us, another special, beautiful day on earth. And I know that each person here will have that moment that moment when something resonates within them, that opens up their heart and their mind to all that is unfolding. That we all just remain here in the present moment, listening to the word and knowing that our life is unfolding in divine perfection, whether it appears so or not. And with this, I am so grateful for everyone present today. I'm present for those that are online joining us. And I just know that this love that emanates from this chapel, the peace, the serenity, just creates this beautiful point of light within the universe, that we are a beacon, that we are love. And with this, I release my word to the law, knowing that everything is unfolding as it should. So if this resonates with you, please join me in saying, and so it is. I'd like to share with you the affirmation, the group affirmation for today. In this moment, divine goodness is flowing into my life. It is available to me to the degree I'm willing to receive it. And so it is. Namaste.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surrounds you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on. Sun upon
Good morning. Thanks for that intro. We must be convinced that abundance is the natural state of the universe. To experience and accept abundance in our life, we must be convinced that as we conceive and believe, the universe handles the details. Ernest Holmes. Acknowledging the good that is already in your life is the foundation for all abundance. Eckhart Tolle. Today's reading is entitled Radical Abundance, a Spiritual Understanding. Spirit is everywhere, and in spirit there is only abundance. The abundance isn't very far away. It's within us, woven into the very fabric of life. It is not limited or scarce. It's always flowing, expanding, and available to those who recognize it. Radical abundance is more than just money or material things. It's a way of thinking and being. It means knowing that the universe moves through us, providing everything we need to grow, create, and live fully. When we let go of thoughts of lack, we open ourselves to the truth. The universe is filled with infinite possibilities. We may have been taught that there's not enough, that we have to fight, struggle, or prove our worth to receive good things. But deep inside, we know the truth. Spirit is abundant, and so are we. We are not separate from this divine flow. We are part of it. As expressions of the divine, we are naturally connected to all the good that life has to offer. Radical abundance asks us to let go of old beliefs about limitation. It invites us to trust that infinite good is already ours. As we align our thoughts, feelings, and actions with abundance, our lives begin to reflect it. What we focus on grows. So when we choose to see the possibilities instead of problems, we create a new reality filled with blessings. Abundance isn't something we just receive. It's a way of living. It's seeing opportunities in every moment, feeling gratitude for all we have, and knowing that love, joy, success, creativity, and peace are available to all. Today, we step into radical abundance. We trust that we are supported, guided, and deeply loved by a universe that has already given us everything we need. It is our birthright to live in this truth, and we choose to embrace it now. Today's bonus affirmation: I am a unique expression of the infinite abundance of spirit. I trust that the universe provides for me abundantly, and I joyfully receive all the good that is mine by divine right. Thank you.
So, Matt and I have been playing together for over 10 years now, and one of the things we didn't know is that we were both Nina Simone fans, and so Matt's gonna...
I should say, actually, I hadn't really heard of Nina Simone until not too long ago.
Oh, well, then I'm the big fan.
Well, I had this song came on, like, you know, as they do pop up on Spotify, and I was just like, what is this? This is so amazing. And then so I came up to Jeff, I'm like, have you heard of this lady? And he's like, oh yeah, of course. But anyway, for me, it was quite a discovery. But so anyway, this is a song has a really long title. Like, I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I think it's something that everybody's soul is kind of crying, and I think she kind of nailed it. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say them loud, say them clear. Oh, the whole round world in here. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. song. Isn't that a beautiful song? I don't know if you've heard that one.
So you sing 'cause you know. Yeah, I bet. That's good. That's good. You know what we know and what we do and what we say and how we say it and how we do it. It's just, that's us, isn't it? You know, we just live our life that way. Or we should, at least, I think. Thank you very much, guys. Goodness. Ah, yes, 'tis a good winter day, good winter morning out there. The sun is shining a little bit, isn't it? I'm glad you're in here with me in this cozy sanctuary. Everybody warm enough? We do have a thermostat back there. We can turn it up. We don't like to turn it up all the time because it gets hot in here with the music that comes on like that, you know. I'd like to say something. At our house, we still take a real newspaper. You know, I get up in the morning to take my walk and pick it up, bring it in. You fill us up, get our showers, and we sit and read the newspaper. Usually, I like checking out the weather predictions and then read the comics, you know, and maybe a few articles that catch my interest, but many do not. You know, I've been thinking here. I don't think I've ever shared with you one of my favorite jokes about weather. Before we get started, I think I'll do that right now. It's about a North Canadian Native Indian tribe in the Saskatchewan Territory, Canada. And it seems that during the beginning of their fall season, the Indians asked their chief if the winter was going to be a cold or a mild winter. And not really knowing the answer, the chief thought he'd play it safe, but he just replied that we believe the winter might be very cold, and if the members of the tribal village would get on the stick, they better start collecting some firewood right away. So, to be prepared. But being a good leader, he then called the National Weather Service Bureau, called the local number, and he asked, is this winter going to be a cold winter? The woman on the phone responded, yes, we expect that its indications are showing that this winter will be quite cold. Well, hearing that, the chief went back to speed up his people in their efforts of collecting wood so that they'd be prepared for the coming cold season. A week later, he decides, well, he'll call again. So he called the weather service. So are you still expecting a very cold winter? Yes, the woman replied, it's going to be a very cold winter by all appearances. So the chief gets back and informs his people, get on the stick, keep collecting that firewood. And 2 weeks later, he decides to check in with the Weather Bureau because he has noticed the weather hasn't really changed. He wanted some evidence of the Bureau's predictions. So he asked, on what do you predict such a cold winter? He asked. Well, our evidence is indisputable, answered the meteorologist. We observe the Indians are collecting firewood like crazy. If you've heard that, thanks for laughing. You know, the reading this morning was really rich with information about this idea of a subject like abundance. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Catherine. Last Sunday, you know, Reverend Morris opened our February month's messages on a subject that regards something that is rich and full, and that word, of course, is abundance. Now, in an earlier reading this morning, I think in so many words, I heard Catherine say that this endless, boundless presence of Spirit is only, it's only abundance. That's all it is. It's a force that is both everywhere, and it's within us, and it's woven into the very fabric of the universe. I like that. For me, that makes my mind very satisfied and happy. You know, it reminds me of my grandfather who spoke in his church sermons about having an abundance of joy. And I think abundance can be a good foundation to happiness. You know, happiness. Basically, aren't we looking for happiness, how to be happy? If I were to ask you this question, what would you choose? Wealth? And you're going to have two choices here. Choose between wealth for the rest of your life as your guidance for life, or would you like to choose happiness for the rest of your life, happiness for your life? And you know, most of us would kind of slide on that. We'd say, oh, I could have wealth and happiness too, couldn't I? Yeah, that's the way we would want to look at it. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. But have you ever noticed the way someone might win the lottery and then ends up not having any lottery money after all, and were happy for a while? The idea that abundance needs wealth for happiness doesn't seem to fit the truth about abundance. In fact, Catherine mentioned that too. When he spoke about joy, my grandfather, I think abundance was his kind of foundation to happiness too, because he run around singing and dancing when he did his sermons. But someone might say, well, what if you have an abundance of problems? Mm-hmm. Oh. Well, my grandmother had the answer to that. She pretty well, for me anyhow, she would say, problems aren't associated with happiness. Her statements would be, problems come in parcels. You get a parcel of problems, but you get an abundance of happiness. Oh, I like that. And one time she said, abundance is my garden. Well, I mean, in so many words, I can't remember the exact words, but I'm kind of filling in here. She would say, abundance is my garden, flowing over with flowers that I can bring on Sunday morning to church, the altar, and vegetables for canning and put up for winter to keep the tummy happy. That gave her a satisfied mind, and she was very happy. So that made me happy that she was happy. Now, have we spoke of this before? You've heard this statement maybe, one that says, in the universe, there's never been a famine. You've heard that, I think, haven't you? That ever-flowing supply of abundance doesn't come in limited supply. It's not supposed to run out. Not supposed to. It doesn't run out. See, in the topic for today, titled Radical Abundance, it just kind of swirls me a little bit. I think what that can mean is that the universal mind, holding all the good intention for all creation, holds it for everybody. That includes you and me. It never denies us anything. Oh, that's a statement I remember hearing someone say, that, God never denies us anything. God never denies you anything. Anything we hold as a mental and emotional equivalent, however, now we're coming into religious science speak, see. Never denies you anything that is your emotional and mental equivalent to what he's talking about. Some folks would say that's a bit radical to believe that God holds nothing back. The answer, though, is yes, that's right. God holds nothing back. There's a law of yes in the universe. Why do we say that? If there's a law of yes, is God all law? Does the law go against anything God wants to do for us? Does God want to do anything for us? There's all kinds of questions we start to go down these rabbit holes that I do. We'll talk more about that later. For me, I don't want to feel like I'm going to give you this metaphysical new thought gibberish that I sometimes fall into. I can feel it more than understand it sometimes. But with a statement like mental and emotional equivalent, radical abundance simply, again, reveals to us that if we really delve into it, that there aren't any limitations for God moving and flowing through our life all the time. That's just what it means, I think, in simplicity. And all the time, in our human experiences on this teeny, tiny planet, we're never forgotten, we're never left alone, we're never ignored. Sometimes it feels like we are, doesn't it? But we're always accepted in the mind movement of, I think, what we can call God as being worthy of receiving what is our heart's desire to match our mental equivalence. Now, it's not what we want. So what would it mean if I were to say that we need a mental and emotional equivalent that ignites this yes movement for us in God mind, in the universal mind? Would it be too radical to say that we can believe that our mind weds the divine and the human by matching and weaving itself into the divine intelligence, you know, we could not take our next breath. We couldn't take our very next breath if we were not in the divine inheritance that we live and move and have our being, who we were born to be. I've heard a minister say, make it simple. You could not take your very next breath if it were not for God. Mental equivalency of the mind in mind, my mind and universal mind, let's take it that way. You've heard this before. I'm going to quote something here. If what we needed to fulfill our heart's desire, now again, we're not talking about wanting. When we want, we get want. But when we have a heart's desire, something goes on here. If what we needed to fulfill our heart's desire was only to be found in the farthest galaxy from us in the universe, it would be brought to us by that intelligent divine energy movement for our use in our manifestation of that desire. Our heart's desire. That's how close God abides in all creation and works. Oneness of all, that is, what could ever be, is our birthright with God. Talking a lot about God here today. The G-O-D, the grand overall design, there's all kinds of words that we use for God, as you know. No limitations for God. So what's the limitations? Well, we're told in our philosophy that all our limitations are self-inflicted. Oh my gosh, doesn't that sound terrible? Why would I self-inflict myself with that? Within the human efforts to find what some have called the satisfied mind, we find ourselves self-inflicting, I guess. Now, Emerson was right on target, I think. Let's take him. He suggested that we first must get ourselves out of the way to let God, energy, move and to fill these sacred spots, or this sacred space, I guess it is called, for our heart's desire. Now, he's a little more blunt than what I'm just trying to flower up here. He said, get that bloated nothing out of the way. And then I think he also meant, and be willing to live in acceptance. That's some of my words, of course. But you know, and again, it's not wanting anything or willing and be waiting to receive our wanting. I'm talking about what we desire. Our heart's vision of receiving our desire. Now, you've probably heard this. Our heart is our emotional center of gravity. Have you heard that? It's what keeps us grounded and on our paths of being a human. It circulates the energy of our desires within the God mind. And our mind is like a divine ocean of the beginning of all of our evolving experiences, the middle creating of an equivalent of manifestation. God, that sounded flowery when I did that. From out of which all that we are, all that we have and shall become, the heart picks up the frequency of our mental equivalent of what we desire. Yeah. And if and when it dawns upon us, if we get it, that there is a truth that does set us free, we'll find that that truth is really a partial part, that we understand that we're worthy of receiving the good, simply awaiting us to be willing to receive and accept that good. It's our heart's desire. But again, we got to be willing. You know that. Wayne Dyer, you like him? I like reading some of Wayne Dyer. I read where he was supposed to have said, the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is acceptance. Oh. Now, he was speaking to accepting all things, all life, even that which, I remember him speaking to that which on the surface or maybe at first glance may not be readily apparent, that those things that are they're supposed to be for that moment. But here's the truth again. They show up as we realize when we come to knowing that we aren't forced to settle. That's the blessing. We're not forced to settle for what appears on our life's path, but it's supposed to be there. If what we have in this moment is not what we dreamed or desired, but it's shown up like a rash, maybe it appears overnight, we think and we feel we didn't ask for this moment, but here it is. We don't have to settle. Nothing. We just have to remember. This is the key. Just remember, we're on the move. Yeah. Nothing's stuck in the universe. Nothing's stuck still. We're on the moving train, ever traveling through life. And some of the time, here's the other factor to that. Some of the time we are in a trance, as if we were hypnotized. And that's because we're temporary residents on the planet. And we've been and still are greatly influenced all throughout our lifetime by what is called an accumulative mass thinking. Ernest Holmes has a glossary in this great book called Science of Mind. That's a great book. Wow. If you get into that, you'll say, oh, there's a lot of jargon. It's really deep. It's too wordy. But if you just read pieces of it every once in a while, I've read it for 25 years, maybe 30 years. I've never read the whole, understood the whole book yet. But he in that glossary, he calls this idea race mind, race thoughts, race suggestion. Now, you've probably heard of that. The constant input of the culture of just generations that we were born into. If you or I were born in Pakistan, for example, we just might be following the spiritual path of Islam, that culture. Or say born in Mongolia, Buddhism might be our path. But born we are, were, and right here we are. And right here you are. There's a reason for that. We were born right away, of course, and we became surrounded by our family and these earthly cultures that began the programming of our future beliefs and our behaviors. And, so much of the time, I think these accumulation of experiences and the beliefs that we latched onto kind of gave us this belief, and I heard this in the reading today, a belief that we're all separate and we live in a world that has limited resources. But the truth is, we're not separate, but we are separated. That's all it comes down to. We're not separated from our source, never separated that way, except in those times we separated ourselves. We separate ourselves when we forget that we are these individual expressions of the one source of all life. We are, and the source are one. You hear that from us a lot from up here. Well, who said it first that we know about? Jesus. I and the Father are one. He knew that. He expressed that. And then we carry it out in our philosophy about the source. But sometimes we forget, and we may be setting on a course where our belief in limitation just kind of impels us to want to get our share before someone else gets it. Now, actually, I think we're assaulted all the time, if you will, by the divisions of those who have and get and those who are living in lack. I mean, just take a drive through any of our cities now, and you'll see the tent cities, and you'll see the carts on the street, and the people at the grocery store just waiting with their cards saying, please, bless me, bless you. People who believe that they're missing the boat in lack. Yeah, the other thing, too, if we only just look around at all the individual expressions of humanity, it states these living conditions based on really two things: wealth and power, and lack and limitation. And it's more than just belief. If we succumb to the world vision that we're going to focus on the politics of division, we're going to focus on the destruction and the wars, like Ukraine, Gaza, Africa, whatever. Hasn't this been going on forever throughout mankind? Peace we seek, war we wage. Lives, property destroyed, lives destroyed. First appearances holding us hostage in our emotions and our thoughts. And regarding the word abundance and all that, it's abundantly clear that abundance has escaped a great share of the world's population at the hands and the actions of those who believe in lack and limitation and getting theirs while the getting is good or possible. And there we have an example of how our mental and emotional equivalent of what we think and believe matching our actions. What we think and believe. That's the equivalency. And it's probably not readily obvious to most of us, but to those who observe the events of conflict, it's fear as a companion to all sides. All sides. Those that are inflicted and those who are committing the affliction. Fear is driving it. And that doesn't speak to happiness for either side. I'm going to stop talking about that. You know, I enjoy reading books. I read them piece by piece. I read them maybe over 10 years, one book, reading 20 books at a time, that kind of thing. And I enjoyed reading a chapter in one of my favorite books titled 3 Magic Words. U.S. Anderson lived on the Oregon coast all of his life, traveled many times to Ernest Holmes' concerts or meetings, and he authored this one book that was called 3 Magic Words. He was big on discovering mental satisfaction, and since then I've called it having a satisfied mind. Now, a satisfied mind doesn't mean to have a settled mind, but it lives in abundance all the time. It simply embraces the now. It accepts the now, and the ability to be willing to accept and hold the sacred space for that divine energy that just moves into and through our minds and our hearts and our life, our accepting God in all things. When we have our we call it prayer of protection, it's really an affirmation, isn't it? The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. That's accepting God in all things. There is no place where you cannot see God's face. Those kinds of comments. Say them and mean them. A satisfied mind doesn't mean to have a settled mind. Again, it just embraces the now. Now, I bring this up because when I was reading that, he emphasized a radical approach to what he called thought atmosphere. He claimed that it is an inescapable fact that each human being who lives is surrounded by a subtle but powerful thought atmosphere. Now, we're accustomed to believe that thoughts are invisible, and yet you hear someone say, man, glad he can't see what I'm thinking. Well, the truth he talks about is that you can mark the existence of thousands of thoughts with our very eyes every day. He writes that the thought of each person stands written right on their face, in their brow, in the expression of the eyes, in the set of the lips and smiles and lesser expressions, maybe a kiss. Even the carriage of the head and the body posture, the bearing, like our demeanor, even in the tone of our conversation or our voice. Every thought weaves that tone in our actions and accomplishments and failures, whatever it's going to be, because our very life is just simply wrapped in the quality of our thinking. That's where abundance comes in. The past, the present, and the future is wrapped in the sum total of the quality of our thoughts. The quality of our thoughts. The stuff of the universal mind is found in the atoms. He calls them light atoms and light molecules of our thinking, of our thoughts. We can count on this. You can hang your hat on this. Our thoughts are things. They become things that congregate within this similar frequency already existing, simply awaiting our conception of accepting the experience. The manifestation comes from the equalization of the mental equivalence we hold. Our acceptance of the moment and our decisions on any moment. I know many of us I keep talking about, have you heard this comment, but you've heard this so many times. I love it. I still say it. It is what it is. Well, we just got to remember that what we do with what is what it's going to become. So the longer we study the spiritual sciences, the many of us like to refer to the universe simply as one great mind, universal mind, rich with the divine atmosphere of universal thought, carrying a frequency of this what was called like-mind attraction. Simply call it the law of attraction, the law of universal mind, like minds. When our mind is purposely focused on abundance as being woven into the natural order of the universe and is everything, everywhere, especially us, we, these human beings, who have evolved our self-awareness to this point, and that's what it is. We're at a point of evolution right now where we find that it might be time for us to transform our fears. Let's transform it into faith and take a radical step to accept whatever is on our plates. Whatever you find on your plate, you work with it to it feeds you. There's a way we can do this. And Jean Houston called us. She said that our minds are the stargates to the abundance of the universe. And they open the doors for us. And they live as we truly believe in the universe, that never has been a famine. Why do we accept it for our life then, if we are a part of the universe? And that God holds back nothing. Why would we accept that? Because God is, you are, I am, and abundance is our divine inheritance. I'll be closing here, and you can relax a little bit and wake up from your stupor with me, and we'll get on with our day. You know, I've always been interested in the topic of gaining a satisfied mind. There's a song even about that. When I have my own satisfied mind experiences, I find peace really on kind of a radical level, because I'm overcome by an abundant sense that everything is as it should be. And I have my own parts to play in this. You know, Phyllis and I, we know our life has changed for totally a different path than what we had earlier had hoped for in life. I seem to be overcome by an abundant sense that, again, everything is really as it should be. There's things I must do. I must have this willingness. And sometimes I can feel it rising in me. Okay, I'm willing. I'm ready for whatever is made apparent, for which I find that it is mine to do. And then all of a sudden I'm surprised. It never fails to surprise me at the unpleasant emotions that can take over my peace. And for a period of time, I got to let myself be what I didn't plan on being. Angry, frustrated, sad. And then I realize I have to forgive myself. I kind of go into this radical state of, why do I want to do that? Why do I have to do that? Forgive myself for not loving myself enough to just let it all go. Let it all go. And when I come back to center, and I do that after finding time to meditate and speak my affirmations. My mornings are my affirmations. Every step is an affirmation. And I have that familiar rush that comes back to me. It's a rush of gratitude for being alive and feeling worthy again and willing to receive this now moment as the moment it should be and ready for the next one to appear. Okay, maybe I just sit and strum my guitar and I allow that sweetness to come over me as I breathe into my satisfied mind. So if you can accept just one paragraph of anything I've spoken to this morning and find agreement that you can take it to the bank of your own life, I just ask you to agree with me, and as I say to you that truly, 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 the divine in me is always trying to see the divine in you. And I receive it back from you, whether it's a hug or a smile or a hello, or here we are together in silence in the meditation. And I just simply say, Namaste. And you can say that back if you feel that way. Namaste. Thank you. We're going to have some more music. Thank you, Jeff.
So I want to apologize a little bit. Doing a deep dive into Selma and what went on there and what's going I'm not going into politics, but whatever's going on in our world. When I started reading about this is holy ground, I mean, I'm thinking the whole world is, but yet it's so, seems like it's unattainable now, and so and I kind of lost it, so I apologize for that. But Matt will make up for it now with an awesome rendition of Satisfied Mind for Don Kerr. Yeah.
How many times have you heard someone say, if I had his money, I'd do things my way? Well, little they know, and it's so hard to find one rich man in 10 with a satisfied mind. Once I was waiting for fortune and fame, and everything I dreamed of to get a start in life's game. That's when it happened, I lost every dime, but I'm richer by far with a satisfied mind. When my life is over and my time is run out, my friends and my loved ones, I leave them no doubt. One thing is for certain, when it comes my time, I'll leave here for certain with a satisfied mind. Got a satisfied mind. Got a satisfied mind. Satisfied mind. Got a satisfied mind.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. feel really blessed this morning with truth and music and energy and love. So, all right. And so now is the time in our service we get to share back with our love for our community, our building, and all that happens here, which takes abundance. So I invite our ushers to come forward. And let us say this affirmation, paying attention to the words as we say them. Let them sink deep in our hearts with the truth of this. Divine love moving in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
It's your time to shine. It's your time to shine. Shine on. Shine on. It's your time to shine. It's your time to shine. Shine on. Shine on. Karen, your time to shine. It's your time to shine. Shine on. Shine on. One more time. It's your time to shine. It's your time to shine. Shine on. Shine on.
Yeah. Your time to shine. The shine that we're talking about comes from the heart that we talk about this morning. What you have just done is not an act of kindness or an act of necessary givingness. It's just an act from your heart that says, I agree with coming here today and finding a place that is safe, a place that I can come and feel that I am welcome, that life holds me dear, and that I can feel the Holy Spirit. So shine on, we have done. And we want to tell you that we thank every one of you who opens your heart and opens your pocketbook and decides, this is a place I want to support. This is a place I want to grow into and have grow with me and to grow with it. So thank you. And I just simply say, and so it is.
And so let us stand and say our prayer of protection and then our peace song. And we just keep affirming that peace is actually possible. It requires many of us, millions and billions, to change our thinking, change our mind.
E-E-A-C-E, putting everyone above conflict everywhere.
Yeah. And so, let us say our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was I know. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
So my human design.
I knew they'd love you. So, I'm sorry. I just, that song, that Holy Ground threw me into an emotional spiral. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing in front of this people? So I'm sorry. I realized that I should shape my sorrow, before I walk in somewhere. Maybe, I mean, yeah.
Do the drums, play the guitar, and sing words.
Really? Yeah.